This is a fire ring that I made recently. I enjoy making stuff out of metal and wood, and it's fun to post to YouTube as somebody might get idea for a project they're working on or can make. I watch them too, and I get ideas that I may use down the road at times. I came across two pieces of 1/4-inch plate steel that were 5 inches wide by 14 foot long, and went through the calculations to figure out what size of segmented circle I could make, stacking two of those high and then one flat on the top. There's also a grill attachment that you'll see. I've got this 1/4-inch plate that I'm going to make a fire ring out of, and I'm doing it in a segmented circle. So I figured out that I need 8 13/16, 12 of them, and then I will make a segmented circle with that. And to cut this would take a long time and a lot of blades with a grinder, so I am going to use a cutting torch. Mark a straight line, and then I'm going to use this piece of angle as a guide for the cutting torch. And it's a matter of getting the right feel and the right flame to be able to cut. And I know there are others watching this who are a lot better than me, but I'm getting it to work. Once you get the sweet spot, then you just gotta go along smoothly. And then once in a while I do lose it. A whole lot easier than using a cutting wheel on a grinder. Of course, you always got to remember to turn your oxygen off first and then the acetylene, or else you got problems. Okay, so this slag from cutting, this one's actually not a very good cut. This one's a little better, but I need to get this slag off, so I'm grinding that. And as I'm grinding, I'm also putting a chamfer on there for use for welding, to allow for a bead for welding. So that gives me a chamfer, a bead. When I put the next piece up against it, then I got a little bit of a place for a bead to be. This one still needs a little bit more grinding. With metal, it's a little easier, more forgiving for welding together. Wood would have to be a lot closer. I'm more of a woodworker by trade, but metal I've enjoyed working with as well. So I am not perfect in cutting all of these to length. And what I did then was I matched them up so that these that are really short are paired to each other. And the reason for that is that I'm going to stack this, and it's going to be 2 layers high, so I get 10-inch high fire ring. And by pairing them up, then I will have them, the rings will work together to weld on top of one another. Okay, my auto darkening helmet is not working right now, and I'll have to figure that out later, so I'm gonna go back to the old one. I've laid this out in somewhat of a circle to start off with, and I'm just gonna tack at the top until I get around, and then that way I can still flex a little bit and get to that point where they're in a good arc, and then I'll start welding them tight.
blind when you don't have that helmet. Wow, sure have gotten used to that thing. The auto darkening helmet makes a huge difference. I went ahead and got this tacked in place, top and bottom, while my wife was gracious enough to go get a battery for the auto darkening helmet. So now, after I got it all welded, then I had to use a clamp to pull it together to get it in a fairly decent circle, and I'm happy with it. After all, it is a fire ring. So I got that done, and now I'm going to set these on top and weld them in place. Okay, I ground the tops off so that I'd get good seating with these next pieces. And so I'm gonna go around and weld them in place. And I'm matching up numbers to numbers. Didn't matter if they were inside or out, just so long as they're, because then these distances here are the same and are pretty close, as good as can be, and then I don't have issues there. With it being, it's not a perfect circle, but because I'm matching these up, it's getting as good as can be. And it is a huge difference with an auto darkening helmet. You realize how used to that I had gotten. And I know I'm not getting the numbers the same way, but it is going to work. I was welding into evening last night, and it was getting too dark to even bother to film, but I've got the whole outside done, and I got a lot of grinding to do because I'm not that great a welder, so I want to get that smoothed up a little bit. But first I'm going to come in and do all the inside joints this morning. Like I say, I'm not that good of a welder. The inside I'm not going to worry about grinding because that's where the fire is. The outside I will come back and grind it so it looks good and go from there. A good welder doesn't have to grind, but I'm not a good welder. I had a whole bunch of plugs from an earlier project. A friend of mine drilled made a weight rack, and we had a whole lot of drills on the drill press, a lot of plugs, and I kept them. And it's gonna leave a nub on the inside, but that's fine. I just wanted to have the outside smooth and finished and complete, because I'm gonna come back and cut some designs in 4 panels around this. Looking at this from the bottom side, this will be the top. So I'm laying it out, and I'm having to kind of match these up a little bit in size. I can't just cut them all to one length and go, so, but it's gonna work. Might be a little more grinding, but I'll get it. Again, looking upside down here, and it's not perfect, but I believe when it's upright, the depth is not going to be that discernible. And I'm more worried about getting these corners out here as close as possible. And one thing, I'm not that good a welder, but I have learned how to fill gaps because, well, you can see how good a welder I am not, because I've had to do a lot of grinding. I'm going to try to come back and fill some of those up a little bit, but this has got a pretty good valley in it to try to get it to look good. But after all, it is a fire pit, but I like to do things good when I do something, but it'll work. So I wanted to have some cutouts, decoration around the fire ring, so I cut these out of paper and spray painted onto the sides, and I will go back with a cutting torch and cut those out. As with most of my videos, I don't do much filming of actual work, but I welded this pipe down here after I cut a hole with the torch. That will allow me to put a grill in here. And I had a pipe that would fit into that receiver pipe. So I laid that bottom piece on, and these are just from somewhere. I don't remember where these grills are from, but that one actually has a clip on that end and a clip on that end, which might come in handy. I don't know. But then I took another pipe and welded one on top. So you could actually clip this one, and then this one will move by itself, or they both kind of move together, which ain't a problem. And you can do a high grill for whatever might need, or they easily come out and can be stored elsewhere. Stay out of the rain and the weather and last long. Now it's time to paint. I've got all of this cut out, and I've got 4 panels around. You can see where I had to grind a little bit. I'm not great on cutting with a torch, but I got what I feel happy with. After all, it's a fire ring. I have painted the inside already, so you can kind of see how that looks, and it'll finish out. I'm using a barbecue high heat made just for this kind of stuff, with a dust mask and safety glasses. But I'm gonna paint it all black and let it then start weathering in the fire evenly, instead of sticking it out there like this right now. Gonna start off looking good. Painting it, and I think it turned out good, especially for a novice in cutting and welding. I'm happy with it. I can't wait to get it back there and build a fire in it and enjoy it. Sitting out on the fire brick and ready to go. Rain right now, but it's supposed to be rolling through in an hour. We got some friends coming over this evening, and we're going to light a fire and enjoy it. Wanted to include this pic because I just like the way this looks. Finished this in plenty of time to enjoy New Year's Eve 2023 and welcome in 2024. And while we are technically in the city limits, there's plenty of places around us that are not, and we don't have to go far to enjoy fireworks and enjoy a fire in the fire